This is Monterastelli, and welcome to the Tapping Q&A podcast, recorded live to tape from Williamsburg in Brooklyn. This is episode 287, originally aired October 4th, 2017. Hi everyone, I hope this finds you well wherever you are and whatever time of day you're getting a chance to listen to this. Thanks for spending some time with me today. In today's podcast, you're actually going to hear a snippet from a client session from a couple of weeks ago in which a client was struggling with a concept that I think all of us struggle with when we are tapping. Before we jump into that, just two quick announcements. The first is, in the middle of November, I am a part of the Uncomplicate Your Relationship with Money event that is happening in Orlando, Florida. It's going to be 2 days where you're going to get the opportunity to receive instructions from a number of really awesome presenters, as well as get a chance to do some tapping to clear your blocks around money, particularly if you are working in the world as a practitioner of some sort. And if you are one of those folks that need CEUs to do continuing education, the event has been set up so you can get 12 of those as well. For more information on the event, simply go to tappingqna.com/money, or if you click on the show notes, you will be taken right to the event. We would love to see you in November in Orlando. It's going to be 2 really great days. The second thing, if you have not done so already, on the website, I have a free guide, a 10-part guide for using tapping to help you to eliminate self-sabotage. There are audios, there's videos, there's instructions, there's things that you can download. Every few days, you're going to receive another part. I put it together in that way so that each time you get something from me, it's useful and you can implement it right away, but it's not so overwhelming that you get so much information, it's not useful. Tappingqna.com, just click on the big blue button. If you happen to be listening to this right now in the website, if you go up in the right-hand column, you will see the blue button right there. Click on that and you will start receiving the guide. So today's conversation came about because of a session that I had a few weeks ago. It's a client I've been working with over a long period of time in short bursts, 15 minutes every single week. And she was reporting back to me some progress that she had been made. And she was talking about the tapping that she was doing and how she had a really hard time using the phrase, be easy and gentle with yourself. It's a phrase that if you've listened to any of my tap along audios, you hear me use a lot. So obviously, when I'm talking to my clients, it's going to come up because when I use it in my tap alongs, it's the work that I do with myself. It's the work that I do with my clients. And it's a really difficult phrase because there's a part of us that doesn't want us to be easy and gentle with ourselves. So my client, who is anonymous, and I do have her permission. I definitely ran this by her. I wouldn't be sharing audio if I didn't have her permission. Here is the conversation from the second half of the client session where this idea came up, and you'll get a chance to hear her wrestle with the problem and how I gave her some really simple steps to move forward. So here is me and one of my clients struggling with being easy and gentle with ourselves.
So it was really interesting that I was thinking about, I don't know, I was listening to one of the other podcasts yesterday when I was going for a walk. And in my mind, it's again, be easy with yourself, be gentle with yourself. And I hate that. I hate that saying. I hate it so much. Okay. But it's about, I don't accept that part of myself because that's going to be wimpy. It's going to be walked over, it's the doormat, It's whatever.
Yes, yeah. And so there's two things. One is I offer phrases because they're useful for me and they may or may not be useful for you. And you might find a phrase that is more useful for doing that.
I like it. I like having it because I need the reminder, but I don't like it.
Yeah. And for me, when I hear be easy with myself, I have the inside translation that being easy with myself is not giving myself a pass. It's not letting go of responsibility. It's not becoming a doormat. It's not letting these things go. It's a way of recognizing my imperfect humanity, and at the same time being able to hold myself to a standard that I know I should be doing my best and I should be trying for more. And so it's a struggle to hold those two ideas simultaneously in our head when we're thinking about that. It's almost like there's this pendulum, and at one end of the swing, it's I take responsibility for every single thing in the entire universe, and it must be perfect. At the other end of the spectrum, it's it doesn't matter. It's whatever. I'm taking no responsibility at all. Whatever happens, happens, and none of it really matters.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of a pendulum because for me, even when I am at my best, the pendulum is still swinging. But it might be swinging this much. Now, there are times in my life I'm overreacting one way, and there are times in my life I'm overreacting the other way. And with all of the work I've been doing internally, that swing is much smaller. And for me, and I'm guessing for you, it oftentimes swings more towards the responsibility side than it does being too easy with myself side. I'm just guessing.
Yeah. No, you're totally wrong.
Just a guess.
Totally wrong.
And so for me, as I battle that, sometimes there is an overcorrection. Sometimes I go too far to the other side, and I get too easy, and I take too little responsibility, and I have to catch myself. And I'm like, okay, I'm not being responsible enough, and I'm just blah, blah, blah. It doesn't happen often, but it certainly does. And so then it's the effort to get it to swing back. And so it's kind of, for me, the goal is to get those swings to be as small as possible and as slow as possible. And so that's what the work looks like as we kind of manage that. So, and so it's not a set point, because the other thing is I might find myself into a place where I'm comfortable with being kind to myself and taking responsibility, and then a relationship changes, or then a job changes, or something in the world changes. And so I am now disoriented a little bit into where I stand and what I'm responsible and what I'm not. You know, I mean, like right now, I'm sure you've seen in the news the chaos that is reigning with the weather. One of my best friends from college was in St. Martin and literally is left with her backpack. Like, that is everything she has in the world. And typically we have this very equal friendship. She's an energy worker. I graduated college with her. And right now it's not, because I'm basically helping her with trauma, but also telling her what to do because she needs to raise some money right now because she literally has nothing. And for her to be in this place of asking is completely outside of her comfort zone.
Yes.
And so it's almost as if she has to swing to being less responsible, and I am swinging to being more responsible in this relationship, because I'm basically saying, yes, we have to ask for money. Yes, you need to send me pictures. We're building a website. We're telling all of our friends. Because of the shifting sand, where I stand in the responsibility I take changes inside of that. And the more emotional work that we do as we bump into these circumstances, each time the sand shifts as we move forward, the pendulum swings less. It's almost like we're building a better foundation, so the pendulum isn't rocked as much when the earth changes around us. Yeah. And so every time you struggle with saying being gentle and easy with yourself, like when I was struggling with that, I always said I give myself to be gentle and easy with myself while still being responsible adult. And that was enough for me. Like just saying, okay, I'm a responsible adult. And there's a difference between me being responsible for you, and me being a responsible adult. Because for me, being a responsible adult means that if I see someone who spills their bag of groceries on the street, I'm going to go over and help them, but I'm not going to take responsibility for them. I'm going to pick up some, I'm going to be a good citizen in the world. And that becomes kind of like this good marker for me to recognize I'm not just walking away. And that helps me to balance the sense of being easy and gentle with myself does not negate my responsibility as just being a responsible citizen in the world and being a responsible adult.
Yeah, yeah. I've noticed that there's a lot less chatter in my mind when I wake up in the morning. Yeah. Usually I wake up at 5 and, you're thinking about the day and all the things that you've got to do, and it's not there anymore. It's the last couple of mornings I've woken up feeling good, and I think, what the hell is
this? The shoe's going to drop. When is it going to go wrong?
I know.
Yeah, and that's the process, and that's the reason why I love the persistence of working like this once a week for a little bit of time, and you doing all of that work is because of that. We have the opportunity to look and think what the world looked like 4.5 months ago, and maybe when you started, there were some specific things that you wanted to change with the business and this and that, but you can see internally how much differently you are responding to everything in the world. And so the first step is when we are more comfortable inside of our own skin and that chattering is down, it gives us the ability to spend less resource every single time we're confronted with something that is difficult. And when we spend less resource doing it, we make a better choice in the moment, and we have more resource when the next challenge comes up 15 or 20 minutes later from now. So that not only are we making better choices at 8 a.m., we're making better choices at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
I do a workshop with teenagers oftentimes called "No One's Ever Made a Good Choice at 2 o'clock in the morning." Just because at resource state we're spent. Like it just, and so what we're doing is we're managing, life is a resource management problem is the way that I think about this. And so what it does is it gives you this ability to step into it in that way.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. Really enjoying it.
So I hoped you enjoyed that conversation. As you heard, that's something that I still struggle with as we try and navigate being able to move forward and doing it in a way that we're kind to ourselves. I have a feeling this is one that you're going to want to go back to and listen to a couple more times just to get the concepts to really sink in and become a part of the way that you approach the healing process and giving you an insight into what to tap on. A huge thank you to my client who agreed to let me share that audio. I could have just recorded that instruction, but it's a different thing when I'm answering a question in the moment and it's more dynamic. I think sometimes that's a much more useful way to teach. And you also got to hear the give and take in the question. So that's why I did that. Let me know what you think. It's something I've done a couple of times, but haven't done a lot. If you would be interested in hearing me work with clients more, tapping or just having conversations like that as we move forward, please let me know. You can always drop me a note, Gene, Gene at tappingqa.com. On the website, you can click on the contact link up above in the Tapping Q&A app for both Android and Apple devices. If you click on the contact link, you can leave me a voicemail. You can leave me a text message. I would love to hear from you. The app is free. Take it with you. You're able to take the entire Tapping Q&A library with you, as well as over 30 tapping scripts you should download. It's free. tappingqandapodcast.com. If you enjoyed that give and take and you would like to have an opportunity to work with me one-on-one, I am at the moment about to open my practice up again. I have some space. I've had some clients who are moving on because we're done doing the work that we need to be doing. I would love to work with you if you would like to do that. Drop me a note, Gene, Gene, at tappingqa.com if you are interested in some medium or long-term help in creating some transformation in your life. If you like today's podcast and you know someone in your life who would enjoy this sort of concept, please be our ambassador. Pass it along. Don't spam your inbox. Don't send it to everybody in the world. But you know someone who might be able to use this. I would love it if you would pass it along to them. It would mean the world to me. As always, questions, comments can be sent to Gene at tappingqa.com. For the Tapping Q&A podcast, this is Gene Monterastelli, and I will talk to you real soon. Bye-bye. The Tapping Q&A podcast is copyright Gene Monterastelli, Tapping Q&A 2016. All views expressed by guests are those of the guests and not necessarily of Gene Monterastelli or Tapping Q&A.